you all for coming out today and taking time out of your lives to listen to us speak today, because I think it's very important. My name is Endicott. I'm a former Marine Corporal. As she said, I served 4 years. I was deployed in IVAW, Ramadi in 2005. The 1st Battalion, 5th Marine Infantry Regiment. And before I start today, I'd like to say that I'm sharing my story because I'm a patriotic American, and I love my country, and I would do anything to protect it. I deployed in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom on March 1st of 2005. I had been in the Marine Corps for just over a year. I was a 21-year-old boy fulfilling my duty to my country. The vast majority of the Marines in my platoon were Marines that had already fought in Fallujah, and a lot of them had been in Baghdad as well. To me, these Marines, they were heroes. They were my heroes. They were American heroes. From the moment I landed on the deck in Ramadi, I was so filled with hate and discontent for the very people that we were there to help that I was 100% blinded and 100% numbed to reality. My senior Marines had molded me into the perfect new guy. One that never asked why, never asked questions, and was so eager to be accepted that I was willing to hate anyone and willing to shoot anything to prove it, to prove my manhood, to prove that I too was an American hero. I used to lay in bed and hope the next day would bring me a firefight where I could kill hundreds of people to show my fellow Marines that I was as tough as them and that I was a hero too. Little did I know, many of my seniors were laying awake in their beds, praying to never have to pull the trigger again, praying that they would survive yet another bloody deployment in one of the most violent cities in Iraq. As I patrolled the streets of Ramadi and stood post at the government center, time passed with not so much as a single shot fired, and my trigger finger was twitching with anticipation. I stood post one day with a fellow new Marine and sighted in on a man walking down the street, alone, unarmed, and I said, "I'm not leaving this country without killing anybody. It's not happening." My seniors have taught me well. If you think anything is fishy, pull the trigger, period. Radio report you saw 2 to 3 guys with weapons. You immediately engaged, killing one of them, and the other 1 or 2 ran off with the weapons. It's as simple as that. We Marines have your back. We'll protect you. No one in our unit has ever been charged in 2 deployments so far. No one gets in trouble. My fellow Marine laughed, immediately pushed me to shoot, pressuring me, telling me, "Just shoot him, just shoot him." Luckily for that man, and I guess for myself, he was out of sight by the time I looked back and got my eye back in the sights, because I'm not sure what I would have done had he still been there when I turned around. April 1st, 2005, as I lay my head down after a 6-hour post again, I wished and hoped I could fulfill my destiny as an American patriot, and as a Marine. Please just give me a reason. At this point, any minute reason will do. An extremely loud blast, and the room shakes, gunfire screams. My squad leader yells for us to relax. There's a whole other platoon on post. They can take care of it. He runs for the door to get information. When he returned yelling to gear up and move, the enemy had made an advance, and they were on an offensive and were fully attacking the government center. I knew my time had come. As I laughed, I ran. This was everything I had hoped for, my chance to kill. I didn't care how or who, but someone was going to die today, and I was going to be a part of the gun club, which I so cherished. From that moment forward, our efforts became more intense. We began getting intelligence, quote unquote, of suspected terrorist safe houses, weapons caches. We would gear up, blare our death metal, and pump each other up comparing body counts, telling each other it's only a matter of time before we get another. We knew every way to walk right around the line of engagement, the rules of engagement. What a joke. To us grunts, rules of engagement were not rules at all, but merely words on a piece of paper somewhere printed for the sole purpose of protecting officers if we grunts actually got caught. Try to imagine yourself tonight as you sleep warm in your bed with your wife, your children in the next room. 2 a.m., your door is kicked in and men are screaming. As they kick open your bedroom door, they're screaming in a language you don't understand. They're pointing machine guns at your face as they drag you by your hair from your bed, slamming your face down onto the ground, putting their boots on the back of your neck and smashing your face farther into the concrete floor. Your struggle to protect your family and your home is futile as you are blindfolded and handcuffed so tight you lose feeling in your hands within minutes. All you know is you can hear your screaming wife and children crying for help, and you are too useless to protect them. You are not on a list of suspected terrorists. You are not on a list of known terrorists. In fact, you completely supported the U.S. coming into your country and promising freedom and prosperity. You are simply a man in a house on a street that my platoon decided to search. When your blindfold is finally released, the men have left your home, it's destroyed. Your wife and children are hurled in a corner defenseless and crying. Every drawer in your home is thrown, the contents broken, soiled. Your bed has been urinated on. Your wife's panties are glued to the wall. Maybe a family heirloom is missing, or other objects stolen. The floor is wet with fresh chewing tobacco spit, and you vainly try to tell your family it'll be okay and never happen again. But in your heart, you know all the while, your chances are it probably will. As time continued to pass, my ego grew stronger and my hate boiled within my veins. A scene like this was nothing more than a Tuesday to me. I laughed as I heard a story. One of the platoons had strapped dead bodies from a gunfight to the hoods of their Humvees and drove around the city for hours, blasting death metal music as they terrorized the population. Just another Tuesday to me. Back on post, there was a time when somehow, someway, an Iraqi had managed to get himself lost and ended up knocking on the door to my post, which happened to be next to our sleeping area. As I answered the door and saw the Iraqi standing there, I accepted my fate, and I jumped on top of him. I accepted he was a suicide bomber, and I had seen my last day as I began to punch him. Brutally, I sat on top of him, punching him as hard as I could. After a moment, I got him under control and handcuffed him. He was simply a man who had just gotten lost. I was punished harshly, not for my actions, not for harming an unarmed civilian, but for not killing him. I was told he should have been killed for being there and I would have been protected. I was forced to burn human feces, stand hours of additional post, and physically punished. I was ostracized and called a wuss and a girl for not killing him. I had lost all the respect that I had gained and that I had killed for to earn. I was forced to stand 6 hours of post at a time, directly behind an air conditioning unit, with all the heat blasting out the backside onto my face, in the middle of the summer in one of the hottest places on the earth. I stood that post 12 hours a day, 4 days a week, for over a month. The man that arose from that month was someone I hope to never meet again. The last bit of humanity and morality I had left was gone.